everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of 20 Somethings. We have a lot to discuss this week. We seem to have found another planet. We are experiencing a pretty severe hurricane right now, and also we might be experiencing the comeback of trucker hats. So, very interesting week we got planned for us. We're going to start off with Hurricane Iota. Right now, it's battering the Honduras area, and it's right after the arrival of Hurricane Ida. Uh, Both of them have been extremely destructive. They've done a lot of damage to an already damaged economy due to the COVID-19 pandemic right now down there. There's a lot of economic downfall, and on top of that, the physical downfall of all their structures, and like really their communities are being torn apart. It's pretty bad to see this sort of natural disaster coming about in an already shooken up world. So I just would like to ask people, what do you think the best course of action is to kind of go about solving this and provide help to these people coming from an impoverished nation?
I think number one is our responsibility in the rest of the world who hasn't been hit with the rest of these hurricanes to try our best to provide some form of relief, maybe through organizations through the Red Cross or the Peace Corps or something like that. But I would also say that unfortunately, I don't have a lot of hope that the U.S. will provide much aid, considering, I mean, we just saw a similar situation in our own territory of Puerto Rico, and we didn't really do anything about it. So I would not be surprised if the US government and society in general just kind of brushes it under the rug.
Yeah, so you're not holding your breath for any first world help.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see it, but I'm not really counting on it.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be too hopeful either. What about you, Nate?
I think it would be disappointing if the U.S. and other countries didn't help out, because you would want the same to happen to you. If you got struck by something like this, you'd want other countries to help you out. So I think it would be disappointing of countries like the U.S. to not help out in that way.
Yeah, and I mean it's kind of sad that you see the same countries going through these natural disasters again and again, and it's always the countries that don't really have the economic standing to help themselves in the way that they should be able to. But it's really when we're experiencing so few of these natural disasters, I mean, not that we've had none, but we're definitely in a lot better place to help people when these things do come about. So if we want to kind of be controlling the earth in other ways, then we really should be looking as to how we can help it when it's actually suffering. So but yeah, no, that's kind of what's going on down there, and we'll keep tabs on that to see just how that situation pans out. But on the domestic side of things, we're still experiencing a pretty severe like move to shut down with the winter and COVID and everything. A lot of states are implementing new restrictions, thinking that numbers are going to rise. Pennsylvania actually just made the move to do a ban on alcohol sales and at bars and restaurants on Thanksgiving Eve to curb COVID spread. And so this was done based around the idea that Thanksgiving Eve is one of the highest drinking nights of the year. A lot of people would be going out to drink with their friends in bars, restaurants, and stuff like that on the night before Thanksgiving. And so they said that this would really reduce the amount of exchange people had, both in like air contact and fluid exchange and stuff like that, with limiting restaurants and their ability to serve alcohol. This does only affect alcohol though, and the restaurants will be allowed to be open Thanksgiving Eve. They just won't be able to serve alcohol until 8 a.m. Thanksgiving morning. And so really, I was looking at this and I didn't really know like what to do with it, because like after 5 p.m. that kind of makes sense. Nobody would start drinking it on Thanksgiving Eve, but it's not limiting people from going to the restaurant really. So unless their only reason to go would be alcohol, then they really shouldn't be deterred as to going out to eat, and there would still be kind of the same amount of people that you still have to worry about. And so I just wanted to ask you all what you think, if you think this is going to actually be effective in stopping the spread and actually do the right things, or if it's really just going to do nothing overall because it's such a partial ban that really only implements one sector of the restaurant business.
Overall, I think I can get behind the decision. The later on that it gets in a bar, the more drunk you're going to get, and the more less control you might have over yourself. So uh, you might make decisions that you wouldn't usually make if you were sober. So I think I agree with the decision overall. To keep the restaurants open, I think is still a little risky, but I don't know if it's as risky as keeping the bar open that late on a night like Thanksgiving Eve.
I agree. I think the idea that the longer the night goes on, the sloppier you're going to get about being careful makes a lot of sense. But I also agree that, I mean, if you're going to go for something like this, just like go whole hog and shut down the restaurants. It kind of seems like the expectation here is like that it's kind of like pointing out the like alcoholism inherent in American society, that like literally the government at this point is like, well, maybe people just won't actually go out if there's no booze available. Like we're kind of like acknowledging this isn't really about like going to a restaurant and like hanging out with people. Like there's a few American holidays that are just like, let's drink. So it's kind of interesting to see like the government be like, not even like don't go to restaurants, just like, we know this is what you want and you can't have it, and we know you won't go outside if you can't have it.
It does seem like it would be a better decision to just close the restaurants completely. I just think they're trying to help the economy as much as they can. So if they can contain it by saying that no alcohol is going to be served after this time, they're trying to play both hands, and I think that's it's smart on their part, I think.
Yeah,
Uh,
I can definitely see that. I think that the restaurants being closed might I would definitely reduce the risk a lot more, but really the question then is how much you impacting the restaurants. But what were you gonna say about that, Quigs?
I was just gonna say, I could see like pickup only situation, like even with alcohol included, might work better because like just go home and drink. Like
Yeah.
if restaurants like are gonna sell a bunch of bottles of wine like on that night, why shouldn't they get to sell them like curbside or something like that?
Yeah, yeah, no, it's definitely, I mean, with like the current situation that we're in, we're gonna have to start adapting these services to better fit the customers and really give them options to do the things they would normally do dining out, while not dining out as they would normally. So I think that that's definitely something that will be interesting to see if it has a real effect on things. And definitely, it, I'd expect to see a lot more of that coming with the winter months and everything, with like with restaurants shut down and curfews and everything. I expect to see much more of that coming with the rising cases in the winter. But onto a different note, kind of gonna get off of our planet for a sec and go to a brighter place. This one is about a ninth planet that seems to be discovered, and Nate was the one that brought us that topic, so we'll go to Nate for more with that.
Yeah, so researchers have found evidence about a planet that could have possibly been between the planets of Saturn and Uranus. And how they found this planet was that they looked at our solar system and found that the planets weren't arranged correctly compared to other solar systems. So they think that this planet, which is what they're calling an ice giant, is orbiting somewhere beyond our galaxy, beyond our solar system, and that there could be other planets that also are orbiting like that and have really just disappeared from our solar system completely. And they're trying to figure out different research on that and whether there could be different planets like Earth that could possibly have life like ours that we just don't know about yet. So I'll ask a question to you guys. Do you think that there could possibly be life on other planets that we don't know about?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'd be more surprised if there's not life on other planets, just with how much we've learned about how expansive our galaxy is, and with like the discovery of all these different planets and universes like our own. I think that it would be kind of, I mean, with the infinite possibility that there's life in space, then I feel like there's got to be a pretty good possibility, just because really you have so much out there that hasn't been discovered or explored, or I mean that we even know exists in some cases. So yeah, I definitely think that there is, and I think that we're going to keep finding more and more about it.
I agree. I think there's definitely life on other planets. I mean, they say that the universe is literally constantly expanding. So, with that in mind, I can't see, I don't want to say universe again, but I can't see a universe in which we're somehow the only sentient beings like in this void. It doesn't make sense to me at all that I think the chance is so low that it would just be us at this point that yeah, there's
Yeah,
definitely things out there.
yeah, I think the universe is so massive that there are definitely places in space that we haven't discovered yet where there is different planets like Earth that could inhabit life. Um, who knows? Maybe that planet is trying to find us. So who knows?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, with space being one of those things that it's so hard for us to access, and we have been able to access so little of it, it's always cool to see all these new findings and everything about what is a planet, what like could be out there still, what like, I mean, it seems like they find something new every day, just with how fast we're really advancing in that direction. So I think that's definitely really cool sighting that they found. Like, I think that is cool that they can piece together the history of a planet just based off of what other galaxies may look like. So that's just incredible to me with how far we've come in that regard. But yeah, I mean, with 9 planets out there and everything, the universe outside of the world even is getting pretty crazy. So really gonna tame things down on the side of being way out in the universe, and bring it back to Earth for this final topic. This is just about the trucker hat um, fashion trend and how it may be picking up. Don't I remember a time where those definitely did fade out of fashion pretty indefinitely. And Quigs is here with more on that, so she's going to bring that to us.
So we're basically seeing the resurgence of trucker hats, specifically of the Von Dutch brand. They were most popular in the early 2000s, famously with Ashton Kutcher and Paris Hilton. But now we're seeing celebrities like Kylie Jenner and Justin Bieber wearing them, which is a little weird because in recent years, trucker hats have kind of been very put down and people are ashamed of the fact that they used to wear them. So I'm just wondering what you guys think about them. How do you feel about this whole trucker hat resurgence? Does it put you off? Or are you into it?
Uh, I personally will not be wearing one. I don't really, I don't care how fashionable it is. Those are not my style in the slightest. I mean, I think that with like the celebrities getting involved in everything, they might be trying to like stir up waves with their fashion style and kind of bring it back to like a time like that has kind of faded out of the modern fashion trends, just because celebrities do that sometimes for various reasons. And I mean, also, if the celebrities are getting involved with these brands themselves and they're becoming more luxury style brands and everything, then I've seen luxury brands out there making some pretty weird clothing that has price tags that are just absurd, and people still pay for it. So I mean, even though it's not like stuff that I would ever wear or ever pay that much money for, sometimes just the luxury or the money that you pay for it is the appeal of the item. So I think that's kind of what might be happening, especially with the celebrities you mentioned. But
It's like when Kanye was just selling white T-shirts for like $300.
yeah, yeah, like stuff like that. Just a plain white T-shirt for $300, and people will buy it, and it's, I mean, you can build actual industries off that, and it's just crazy to me. But
I'm
what do you think, Nate?
I'm pretty indifferent about it. I mean, I don't mind the look, but I also don't think I'm going to start wearing them because it just don't feel like it looks like me to start wearing one, but I don't mind it. I don't have a problem with it.
Personally, like I come from a very rural area, so I always kind of wanted to wear trucker hats because it felt like my hometown. But I was always like, I'm not going to wear a trucker hat because I don't want to look like a hick. But now that they're back, I feel like I can finally kind of embrace that and have some fun with trucker hats. I don't know. I'm excited.
You can definitely take the charge of that trucker hat movement for this group, at least. I don't know if Nate and I are going to be quick to follow you, but nonetheless, still very exciting news to hear. Trucker hats may be back, being endorsed by Bieber and Kylie Jenner. So that's some pretty interesting news. And so, yeah, we're going to end on that topic for tonight. Keep it light. And for this episode of 20 Somethings, I'm Dan here with Nate and Quigs, and that's a wrap.